is my kind of like upset for this week. I at first I did have the Eagles. I'm like, it's in Philadelphia. The Rams have to come from LA, and typically they those teams are at a disadvantage. But let me tell you this: I think that this Rams passing offense, I trust that passing offense a lot more. A heck of a lot more to make that extra play than the Eagles passing offense does. You're going to have to be able to pass the ball a little more effective eventually. And, all that about Matthew Stafford, the back and stuff going into the season everyone was talking about. Yeah, I could say that's, you could quite simply look at that and be like, yeah, that was a whole load of BS because, he put that right to rest. It's really like there was nothing. It's really like, when Matthew Stafford is on, he's like one of the best of the best. And, Rams have some really good receivers options. I mean, of course, Puka is incredible. Devontae Adams is really good on the other side, and it's the offensive line is the biggest issue, and that Eagles defensive line has actually been a little disappointing. Throughout the first couple weeks here, Jahad Campbell has been a little disappointing. He's had a couple good plays, but not enough. But give me the Rams 24-20. Over the Eagles. I think the Rams go to Philly and they upset the Eagles. Matthew Stafford, and I think that passing offense, I think they're going to get out there quick and they're going to score quick and they're going to make the Eagles have to feel like they have to play catch up in terms of passing the football. And that's something I'm not too sure if this passing game is capable of yet. They haven't shown that so far this season. They struggled week 1 versus the Cowboys defense, which we saw what happened in week 2. Giants absolutely have their way. So kind of makes you question, how capable is this Eagles passing game? And when you're playing another team that can do it at as good as anyone else with Matthew Stafford, Puka, Devontae Adams, I think that the Rams are going to come away with the win this weekend in Philadelphia. Like I said, I did have the Eagles at first, and maybe the Eagles can get out early, quick, run that football. But the Rams have a good defense too. They have a pretty damn good defense. Good defensive line, good front seven. Decent secondary, so the Eagles' offense is really gonna have to be at their best, and I'm gonna pick off what I've seen and haven't seen so far. I've seen a Rams offense. Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay know how to work around an offensive line that isn't the greatest. They know how to work around that. They've been in the game for a long time, and I think the Rams. I think that the Rams are going to overcome that. I think the defense makes that extra play that's needed. And even though I have it only at 24-20, here I am saying the Rams need to get out quick and keep scoring. Of course, the Eagles have to play catch up and and pressure that offense to really pass that football. Until the Eagles can prove that they could do that, I don't know if they could. Now, if the Eagles, if they come out, run the football, defense gets a stop or two, and then they go up a couple scores early, then the Eagles probably win this game. But that's their key. They have to get up early. I don't know, they have weapons in Smith and Brown and Hurts shown that Hurts is inconsistent sometimes, but it is an early season thing too. Maybe it's just early season, still trying to figure things out. So we'll see. It's still early in the year, but early in the year, still having those growing pains. The Rams aren't going to have those growing pains when they're throwing the football. So give me the Rams in that.